Welcome to the new show, In the Clutch. We're going to kick off this 2020 season talking about the upcoming scouting combine. It's going to be a 4-day event. I'm Maniac Ray, and I'm here with the star of the show, Draft Raw. Draft Raw, how you doing today, brother?
Man, I'm doing pretty good.
Great. We're going to talk about some of the upcoming prospects, who to watch, and also some of the biggest question marks out there. And with that being said, Draft Raw, you got the floor.
Okay. Well, who are the prospects to watch? It's pretty simple. I mean, if you heard all of the draft experts and everything that's been going on, it's the wide receivers. The wide receivers is the deepest class in this draft. From guys like Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb all the way down to guys like Isaiah Hodgins or Tyler Johnson from Minnesota. Like, that is the group to watch. So tomorrow,
it's a pretty deep draft. So there'll be a lot of good picks in the later rounds.
Yes, definitely.
Right, good.
And I like that question you had, the biggest question marks. Okay. And if we sticking with receivers, Laviska Shenault from Colorado.
All right. What's about him? What's the question mark about him?
The biggest question mark is him running routes.
Okay.
You know, it's not going to be the speed. It's not going to be size. Like, he's got all of that type of stuff. He's got all of that. But because he was the offensive gadget for Colorado. He played running back. They kind of put him in the quarterback position, a wildcat type stuff.
Okay.
He split out wide. He was in the slot. He was doing a bunch of different things. His route running wasn't really as developed as it should have been.
So we're talking about, is he able to run the route tree in the NFL? He's a very versatile player from what you're saying.
Yeah, very, very versatile. But he's got to show if he can actually run the routes. And it's, route run is just simply about quickness and footwork.
Okay. Who are some of the other prospects out there that we should be taking a look at to watch?
Well, if it's more bigger question marks, Well,
let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's just go right at it.
Right. Literally the elephant in the room, Roll Tide. It's Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
That's
a pretty tough injury to come back from.
Yeah.
We all know, we're just looking at the history of players like, Dennis Pitta, who had that terrible hip injury. And he was out almost a year and a half. And, he basically just fell down out on his own. How long has Tua been out since that injury?
I forgot exactly when the injury happened. I believe it was like late November, early
It hasn't
December.
been a year, though.
No, it hasn't been a year.
Yeah.
It just happened this past season. And the hip injury is very, very serious. Like you said Dennis Pitta. Yeah. Then you had guys like Bo Jackson who had the bad hip injury.
Tragic.
And for a quarterback, it's even worse because, you remember the Dak Prescott video, right?
The hip thrusting.
Yeah,
right,
the hip thrusting.
Exactly.
Like, that's a huge thing for a quarterback to be able to drive the ball down the field. So when you have a guy like Tua, and with that hip injury, it's very, very serious.
Yeah, particularly with pressure coming up, his ability to scramble. He did run a little bit in college.
Right.
I'm sure he's going to curtail a lot of that coming into the NFL. You had a lot of bigger players, a lot of faster players as well. And, mobility would be an issue. What do you project him? You still see him being a top 5 pick?
Still the best quarterback in the draft. I personally do not. I don't have Joe Burrow as the number 1 guy. I still have Tua. Tua, when it comes to when he's making reads, his arm strength, the accuracy, the mobility, all of that type of stuff projects to being, to me, the number 1 quarterback.
Okay.
But we'll see what happens in the draft. It's going to be Joe Burrow number 1. We'll see where he lands.
All right, so let's also talk about, as we get into any other big question marks out there. Anyone you feel as though, may come into the combine and may be able to improve them?
Well, there's plenty of different guys. You have Jonathan Taylor from Wisconsin, the running back. His 40 time is going to be very big for him. He has to run a 4.4 to 4.5. He can't run slower than that.
And why is that so important, particularly with a running back? We talk about that. People would say, well, what's the difference between a 4.3, a 4.4, 4.5? It's still pretty fast. But let's talk about the difference and why that really makes a difference.
The game is literally by the millisecond. Every inch counts, every second counts. So if a running back is going through the hole and they have that type of speed, that type of burst and acceleration, and they're able to get through that hole and be able to get to the second level, the problem is that when you're not as fast,
that hole closes pretty quickly.
Right. And even if it's 0.2 seconds, it's a 4.4 to a 4.6,
right.
It closes very, very quickly. And all of a sudden, the running back is not able to do his job.
And
so
that's the difference in the NFL versus college.
It's a huge difference. Yeah. And then, I mean, if you want to look at some other guys, you got like Mekhi Becton from Louisville, the offensive tackle. You know, they want to see his movement skills. He wasn't the very cleanest pass protector, so they want to see stuff when it comes to him. You know, what is his agility is like and all of that type of stuff.
Athleticism.
So, right, the athleticism and everything. And even like a Curtis Weaver from Boise State, they want to see his athleticism. They want to make sure that that he can run linebacker drills because he was just a defensive end. Even though he stood up quite a bit, he was mostly a pass rusher at Boise State. So they have to see that type of athleticism. And even just one more guy, AJ Epinesa. AJ, he showed up at the combine 6'6", he's 275. They want to see if he could possibly be a linebacker as well in a 3-4 system on the edge, or if he's an interior guy because he worked really well on Iowa's interior defensive line, or if he's going to stay on the edge. So they want to see that athleticism and why his production kind of dropped from this past, from the season before to this season. So that's going to be the biggest.
Now, I know you've done some extensive homework. We're talking about a lot of guys who've been in a lot of the top schools. Let's talk about some of the smaller, lesser-known schools. Who's on the come there? Who should we be looking at?
Kyle Duggar, safety from Lenoir Rhyne.
What?
Lenoir Rhyne. No, Lenoir Rhyne.
Where's that?
North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Draft raw, digging deep.
Yeah, have to dig deep. But, you know, he's a guy.
What do you like about him?
He was a guy that he played at Senior Bowl. So a lot of people got their eyes on him.
Okay.
So he's not as much of a unknown type of prospect, but you do have to dig deep for his tape to try to see what he's all about. He played well at the Senior Bowl, and he shows really, really well on tape. So now this combine is going to be more for him to show that his athleticism, and I keep using that word athleticism, and what he runs in the 40 and all of that type of stuff, where does that put him? Does it really match up to what he's been showing on tape and what he showed at the Senior Bowl?
Okay. And as we break down the combine, as we go from position to position, let's talk about some players to look at each position.
I mean, if you just going at different things, tight end position.
Okay.
Really, all of the tight ends really need to show up.
All right. We know there's one prominent name out there.
Yeah. Thaddeus Moss. Yeah, you know, Randy Moss's son, if you don't know, if you're, stuck under a rock. He has the pedigree. He has all the athleticism. He's not a receiver like his dad. He is a tight end. He's actually kind of shorter than his dad, which is a little weird. You know, usually the sons are usually a little taller or just right there. But, I mean, to me, this season he did pretty well. He just has to prove that he can be a first-round or second-round talent because, really, be honest with you, there is no first-round talent tight end in this draft. Really? But someone could possibly sneak into the first round if they have a good combine. Now, look to a guy like him or even a guy like Albert O. I can't pronounce his name. It's really hard. But Albert O. from Missouri, if he can actually produce and put himself in the first round consideration, or at least just being one of the first tight ends taken.
So you think a team like New England, who we know really struggled last year with tight ends, not having that clutch guy, missing Gronk, which you really saw the impact of Brady and him not being able to really have as many targets. You think Moss would possibly fit in there, the late round category, someone that could possibly fit in, someone that New England may be looking at?
Moss could possibly fit. He, in that type of role, he remind me like an Aaron Hernandez in terms of.
That's pretty productive.
In terms of just the way he kind of is as a player. If they want to get a more all-around tight end, there's some other guys like Cole Kmet and just different guys out there. But like I said, still there is no like main big time tight end. And I'm still doing my research as
I got
a
you.
tight end. I haven't watched all of them, so haven't found anybody. But as of right now, there really isn't one.
Now let's talk about what's going to separate the men from the boys as we get into the real factor and what these guys are really, unfortunately, measured at. Let's talk about that 40-yard dash and who you think is going to really project and show out in the 40.
The dreaded 40-yard dash. The dreaded 40-yard dash. Okay. So Henry Ruggs is the big name. Everybody's looking for him to break John Ross's record.
That's
right?
really saying something.
4.22. I'm hearing possibly 4.21. I'm hearing possibly 4.22. We'll see what happens with that.
What about the hands?
What about the hands? I mean, he's one of the top receivers in the draft
Okay.
class. I mean, he's got the hands. He's got pretty good route running ability. So he brings all of that together. To me, he's just not the best pure receiver. But I would just say this, that 40-yard dash, which is important for him, we'll see if he can break that record. If we want to look at some other guys, you got the TCU receiver and Jalen Reagor. He's looked to possibly break the record, or really I think he's going to be one of the fastest in breaking into the 4.3s. Then you have players like Lynn Bowden.
Wow.
Lynn Bowden from Kentucky. He reminds me a little bit of Lamar Jackson.
Oh, come on, man. In what way we're talking about?
Well, I'm not talking about it as a passer. I'm just talking about strictly as a runner. He was
Okay.
a receiver that, because of injuries, he had to play at quarterback, and it seems like maybe he'll possibly be playing a little bit of running back. We'll see.
So
We'll
he's
see.
a scat back, basically.
Yeah, scat back, but he may still go out and be a receiver as well, because he wasn't too bad of a receiver, but he's probably project more better as a running back. But
Okay.
his speed is there, and that's where I say Lamar Jackson-esque, because they said Lamar Jackson can run in the 4.3s, which, I mean, we've seen what he did this
It's
season.
a difference between running a 4.3 and being able to maneuver out there on that field.
Right.
So we're talking about elite class when you're talking about Lamar and his ability to make people miss.
Right.
Do you think Bolden has that kind of capability?
I think he does.
Okay.
And, I mean, even at the 40-yard dash, we'll see what he runs. That's just going to be. I think he's going to be one of the fastest players. But I think he does have that type of ability with the agility and everything. And then if we just talk about let's talk about maybe two more guys.
Sure.
KJ Hamler, he runs away from players. So I think that he probably could break into that 4.3, maybe 4.2. We'll see what happens. But the last guy is an interesting guy. Cornerback from Utah, Javelin Guidry. He was a track star.
Okay.
And he's been a football player. And so what track stars can do. They're going to run really, 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 really fast. I'm hearing he could possibly break 4.2 as well.
And he's a corner?
And he's a corner. Yeah. And this is the crazy thing. Basically, there's never been more than one player to break a 4.2 in one single scouting combine.
And who's that? Is that Chris Johnson?
No, I mean, there's been players that break 4.2, but it's never been more than one.
Right.
In one scouting combine.
Gotcha.
Never more
Gotcha.
than one. You had your Chris
right,
Johnson,
right.
you had
You got your star, your standout.
Right. There's never been more than one.
So you're projecting
this year,
we may see.
we can see two.
Wow.
We can see two.
Well, that's a lot of speed. All right, who do you think can go into this combine and really improve their stock? Maybe go from a late second, early third to probably maybe push their way up into the draft.
Well, I think there's two guys, right? They're on the same team. They play on different sides of the football. One guy is Denzel Mims.
Okay.
6'3", 200 pounds. Good size.
6'3", 200 pounds?
6'3", 200 pounds.
Okay.
I'm hearing 4'3".
Yeah. What position is that?
Wide receiver.
Wow.
I'm hearing 4'3". Wow. So that size, that speed.
That's good size. That's Keenan Aiken with speed.
Yes.
Nice.
And then
who else is on the rise?
On that other side of the ball, James Lynch, the Baylor defensive lineman.
Okay.
And I say defensive lineman because it's a weird thing with him. He plays a little bit inside, but he mostly plays on the edge. He is 6'4", almost 300 pounds.
Wow, that's a big guy coming off the edge.
He's
That's
right.
a lot of heat.
He's
That's a lot of heat coming off the edge.
I mean, if you have athleticism like that, how can your stock not rise?
And he's someone you say that he also can play inside.
Yeah.
That's very
Both
versatile.
inside and outside. So that's a guy's stock that could rise. We talked about Mekhi Becton a little bit, I believe. We talked about Chenault. You know, we said something about him. His stock can still rise. Then you got guys like J.K. Dobbins or Jacob Eason, you know, those type of guys that they're right there at the cusp of possibly being a first rounder, but they have to the combine has to push them up into that extra
next
space.
level.
Yeah, that next level. That's what I'm trying to use, the next level. But, you know, one other guy, Patrick Queen, also LSU linebacker. There's history there with
Yeah, that's
LSU
starting to
linebackers.
become linebacker U now, taking that title from Penn State.
Yes.
There's a lot of guys coming from out of LSU here lately.
Yeah.
How does he compare with some of the previous guys that have come out?
It's weird because I don't think he's as good as Devin White or Deion Jones. You know, those are the two main guys. But he's probably more athletic than they are. Probably not mentally, instinctually, or he's probably not as strong as they are.
He makes it up with athleticism, is what you're saying.
athleticism
He's
and
a
speed.
sideline to sideline guy.
Sideline to sideline.
You predict him in the middle or on the outside?
I say on the outside, but the rankings kind of got him as a middle. So it's a little weird, a little mucky there, but I think he's outside.
In a way, the game is evolving with the speed. You see the speed, and you see what the Ravens are doing. You know, they're incorporating a lot of speed around Lamar. So you think the NFL is going to be trying to change to adjust to that, maybe get some smaller, quicker guys,
Yes.
linebackers, to be able to adapt to the new style of game?
Yes, definitely. I can see that's where it seems like they're going anyway. I mean, what's happened in the last couple of drafts, that's where they're going. More athletic, more speed. And it's the new NFL.
Okay, all right. All right, and with the combine, so we got a 4-day event, and I think tomorrow we have tight ends and wide receivers. All right, let's talk about some changes that have been coming up within the new combine, some new drills. And what are those drills?
Well, there's a couple of drills. One drill that I do like is one of the quarterback drills, and that's the fade route drill.
Okay.
The ball starts at the 10-yard line, and the quarterbacks are throwing fades to the receiver or tight end. They're going to be looking for where the quarterback will place the ball, back of the end zone or in the corner.
So this is a bit of a timing play as well as a touch.
Yeah.
'Cause you got to be able to drop it in the bucket.
Right. It's pretty much both. While I was reading how these combine drills were, I don't know if there's going to be a dummy defensive back, like maybe a coach standing there trying to press the receiver or tight end. So I don't know if they're going to be checking for releases. But I think that the biggest thing is that if the receiver or tight end do catch the ball, that they have to get both feet inbounds.
So this is a chance for the quarterback to display a little accuracy, touch, and also for that receiver on the other end to show if he has the ability to do that Tony toe tap.
Exactly, Tony toe tap. So, some other drills I like. I like the Texas route drill for running backs. Just something a little bit different. I mean, we see the Texas route in the NFL plenty of times. It's pretty much the running back come out the backfield to the flat, and then he will plant his foot in the ground and go straight cut back into the middle of the field. So it's pretty much a
So we're looking to see if this guy is versatile enough to be a 3-down back in the NFL.
Pretty much.
Can he take on that linebacker in a one-on-one situation in open space? Is he able to make the cut?
Pretty much.
Okay.
So that's a drill.
What's the name of that drill again?
It's called the Texas route.
Okay.
Texas route. And then one of the last drills I like, this drill I'm going to love watching, okay? It is the run and club drill, okay?
Okay, and who's that involving?
The defensive lineman.
Okay.
And I believe some linebackers will probably be out there doing
Sure.
some,
Sure.
guys that could be edge guys as well. So basically it's going to be 5 dummies set up. And on the first dummy, they'll have to do what I think they're saying is the swim move. Okay? And so that's the first pass rusher move. So it's going to be a right arm and then swim over with the left arm and knocking the same arm down to get to the quarterback.
And with these moves, basically, you have a lot of guys that come in from the NFL who let's face it, they got through with a bull rush in college. So this is all about hand technique.
Hand technique, yes.
Okay, all right, and placement.
And placement,
All right,
yes,
let's
definitely.
talk a little bit more about that.
So then the second bag, it's going to be the spin move. So same thing. They're going to have to come in. This time, they fake like they're going to the inside, and then they turn around using their elbow to push what will be considered the offensive lineman out of the way to then go to the quarterback.
So this
That'll
is
be the
more
next
about
drill.
being able to use leverage
Exactly.
and agility, because otherwise you're falling on your butt.
Right. And then I believe in the third move, it's going to be the other way for the swim move. And then on the fourth move, it's going to be, they said the rip. So that's going to be kind of a like the reverse version of the swim. So instead of pushing the arms down, you're going to be pushing it up and then getting to the quarterback, or pretty much will be the last dummy will have a football in its hand and you just got to strip sack.
Okay. All right, so basically you're setting up 5 cones, and they're taking a look at your ability to utilize your hands, also your athleticism. And I got to imagine it's going to be, although they may not say it, they have to be timing them, because you have to be able to reach a certain point. You know, the NFL now, quarterbacks getting the ball out of their hands 2.3, 2.1, Mahomes is almost under 2 seconds. So, you may be able to do those hand rips, but if it's taking you all day, what good is it?
Right.
So I'm sure they'll be taking a look at that as well. Any other combine changes or drills you need to talk about?
It's a lot of them that I was reading was pretty mucky.
Okay.
In terms of like how the drills were supposed to go. So it would be hard for me to explain them. So I won't go into too much of anymore, but those are the main drills that I really, really like.
Okay.
Those are the main ones.
All right, and let's talk about our favorite team. Let's get into what do we see the Baltimore Ravens looking to do in this upcoming draft? What do you think are some of the needs that we need to focus on?
One of the biggest needs was probably a big need last year, and that was the inside linebacker position.
Yes.
So, we was able to clean it up in the middle of the season with guys like.
Yeah, we were able to get guys off the street. We bring in Fort and
Bynes.
And Bynes really shored up the middle. And he's not a sideline guy, but he's very, very heady and he's steady. And he's gonna make the tackle. He's not gonna miss many tackles. But you saw, particularly in that playoff game, he couldn't make the play when it came to getting to the sideline. We saw how they was running wide on us. They were stretching. They were running that stretch offense, and we didn't have that linebacker to be able to close in that hole, as we talked about with that running back hitting that hole. I mean, let's face it. He had some big holes to run through because we didn't have the pressure, as you were saying. We need those pressure guys. So, yeah, that's something we definitely need. What else do you think we need to really focus on besides inside linebacker?
Well, you see what you're saying that and the big holes. It's going to be some people are going to say pass rusher and they're going to say outside linebacker. To me, the bigger need is just pass rusher, period. So whether it's the outside linebacker
We just need to get pressure.
or the interior guys, we just need pressure. It doesn't matter. And looking at what happened in that game, particularly being able to those guys to hold their own. The outside linebackers hold the edge, and the interior guys be able to
Come
at
up
least
and fill.
hold and not be moved. And that was the biggest problem.
Yeah, there were some huge holes that, let's face it, any random running back could have ran through those holes. They were huge holes.
Yeah.
I mean, we were gaping, they were gashing us, which was pretty embarrassing at home. All right, let's talk about the upcoming free agency. We have a lot of guys that are pending free agents right now. Of course, the biggest one right now is Judon. How do you see that playing out with him?
Some people say tag and trade. I say tag, and I say keep it there. But I'm also in the mindset of this is Eric DeCosta, right? He says that he wants to keep our homegrown guys. But here's the thing. If there's a player in free agency that he thinks is better and it's worth the money, why not go out and
So
get
you're
him?
talking about Judon possibly getting 16, 17 mil a year. You got Clowney out there. You had a lot of other guys out there as well to take a look at.
Right.
Judon, what did he have? 9.5 sacks last year?
Still hasn't hit double-digit sacks.
Okay, so 9.5 sacks. He does hold the edge pretty well. He does do that. He's pretty, and he does drop in coverage as well. But Is he worth 17 mil?
I don't think so. I mean, but see, that's the thing. I would have said the same thing about Zadarius, but I do feel as though Zadarius was helped out by having another great
Guy
pass
on the
rusher
other side.
You
Yes,
know, so
exactly.
it's a little. That's another thing. It's a little mucky,
Right,
kind of getting
right.
into that. But
So you think, and Jalen Ferguson came on later in the year, and he did supply, a bit of a rush. What do you think the upside is for him? Do you think we really need to go out and get somebody else as far as being able to apply a little more pressure? Like you said, it doesn't matter whether it's at the front of the line or linebacker inside. We just need to put pressure.
right.
See,
I think Jalen Ferguson, I liked him coming out of the draft last year. I thought he was a very, very solid player. I never would I've ever think that he would be like a big-time pass rusher. I think that he will always be solid. I think that he has functional strength that works well in the NFL to a point where he can hold edge. He can hold the edge as he gets older and gets stronger. I believe that he's also a guy that he's a will guy. He's a high motor guy. So even if he's not going to beat an offensive tackle off the line with speed rush or a bull rush or anything like that, to me, he's that type of guy that can learn how to get better at it because, I mean, let's put it, that's what he did in college. He wasn't called Sack Daddy for no reason.
So what you're saying is he needs to improve with his hand technique.
Yes.
Be a little more versatile
Yes.
than just trying to bull rush.
Right.
And like he did in college, because as we know, it's the NFL. You're not going to be able to bull rush someone wearing 330. You're
Right.
coming off the edge at what, 260?
Yeah, that
265?
new drill at the combine probably.
Exactly.
Maybe, just maybe.
Well, I got to imagine that everyone is taking a look at that. I mean, if you're worth your salt, you have to know what's going on in the NFL, and so they're always evolving. We also have some pending free agents out there. How do you feel about Jimmy? You think we should bring Jimmy back?
I'm up and down about Jimmy because I like Jimmy, and Jimmy did well for us last year, but Jimmy's always hurt. And when I say he did well for us last year, it's literally after coming back from
Jimmy
injury.
plays well when he's healthy.
Right.
He is very solid. You can pretty much depend on him to give you a very solid effort every time. He doesn't really give up much out there. He's pretty much a lockdown. But like you said, the big question mark is, do you commit that kind of dollars to him? And I'm hopeful that they do bring him back, and hopefully they can work something out. But just reading, it looks like he may want to test the market, which is fine. I think the Ravens are famous for that. They'll let you go out there and see what your worth is. And
And come back to us.
Hey, they let Ray do it, so hey, they'll let anyone else do it. What about Carr? You think we bring him back?
Experience-wise, yes. But it's one of those things where I just feel as though I wouldn't hate it or love it. It would just be kind of like a may. It's just, it's whatever. If we bring him back, we bring him back. I think he still can play in the NFL. I think he's still got some things, but, he's getting older. And as a defensive back, you lose your speed, you lose your agility. So.
Yeah, he gave up a lot of third downs last year. If you take a look at it, that when they went third down, they kind of targeted him. But we're pretty deep there. We got the kid coming out of USC last year. What's his name? Iman?
Yeah.
And then we have Double A, Anthony Averett. Do you let those guys flourish? I mean, you got those young guys out there, and if you're gonna pay Judon 17 mil, you got Jimmy, who may want upwards of 10. You got Carr there at another 7, 8 mil. Do you go with your younger guys and maybe let those guys walk?
I mean, I think that's the point of drafting the guys, is that you do go with the younger guys.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, me personally, I'm not the biggest Anthony Averett guy or Imam Marshall guy. That's just me, just me, what I saw with them coming out of college. So I'm not a professional scout, but I am a guy that puts my time and, effort into seeing what these guys look like when they're coming out. So I would just say this. I mean, with the other guys, we have Marcus Peters signed.
Yeah.
We have Marlon Humphrey. We have Tavon Young.
Well, those guys are locks.
Right,
We're talking about these guys on the fringe right now,
Right,
the free agents. Whether or not we invest that money or do we divert that money to some other position. And don't forget, we got Marlon coming up soon. We're going to have Stanley coming up as well.
Right.
And you always got to keep an eye out for Lamar because, you got him. Yeah, it's on a 5-year plan. That 5 years will sneak up on you pretty quick. And if he's on the trajectory that he is now, he's going to be looking for big money, and you got to have that money set aside. So you can't really lock yourself in.
The question would be, though, And this is what I told a lot of people. Here's the question. Will it be more about the money or more about the wins? Because with Tom Brady, it was about the wins. And if it's the same thing, Lamar could literally possibly sign for $30 million, and you say, well, that's a lot of money. But $30 million 3 years from now,
Right. That's
is
not,
not
a lot
the
of
same.
money. That's not
because the
compared
top
to
quarterbacks
what they're
going
going
to
to be looking at. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so
I think you may be right because he seems to be all about team. He seems to be all about team and winning,
yes,
and like a Tom Brady. But don't forget, Tom Brady had Giselle, who makes a lot more than he does. So it was
Right.
easier for him to bite the bullet. Let's be for real.
yeah.
All right, so with the upcoming season coming on, we're talking about the combine. We're going to be digging deep as the season go on. This is the first show. We just wanted to kick it off, introduce ourselves. Again, I am Maniac Ray. Draft Raw is my guest star host, and we're always going to be here breaking down this upcoming season, giving you our thoughts, predictions, and we hope you tune in.